What is going on, you guys? My name is CodyT503 and this is Interesting Podcast. I'm coming to you guys on March 19th, 2023 for episode 36, where today we actually have some WWE and AEW news. Tony Khan fires back at fans who criticize AEW. Plus we get a backstage news on Randy Orton's potential in-ring return and a creative plan for splitting up the undisputed WWE Universal title. We're going to break down everything and then discuss it all right here, right now, on Interesting Podcast. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Ring that notification bell so you guys get notified whenever I upload content. Make sure to go and follow me on social media at CodyT503. That's Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And just to remind you guys, this Tuesday, March 21st at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Interesting Podcast is going to be interviewing the devil himself, Derek Drexel, and you guys are not going to want to miss this amazing interview that I have coming your guys' way this Tuesday. So make sure to hit that notification bell so you guys get notified whenever we go live this Tuesday. It's going to be a good one. But let's get right into this. So we actually get backstage news on Randy Orton's in-ring return. And as always, this is being brought to you guys by the Spotlight News. This is what they had to say. Randy Orton last competed on the May 20th, 2022 episode of Friday Night SmackDown, where he and Matt Riddle dropped their Raw Tag Team Championship to the Usos in a winner-take-all titles unification match. The Viper had been dealing with a severe back issue for the past few years. Therefore, Randy Orton required a fusion in his lower back. He has successfully undergone the surgery last year. Recently, a rumor circulated that Randy Orton is preparing his gear to make a return to WWE. Today, PW Insider reported that Orton's name was discussed in the creative meetings last week. This is what they had to say, and I quote, "There has been some rumblings about Randy Orton internally within the last week or so, where there hadn't been any discussion about him internally in some time." End quote, from PW Insider. Typically, WWE plans big returns on Raw after WrestleMania. Therefore, Orton could make his return on the April 3rd episode of Monday Night Raw. In a virtual autograph signing, Randy Orton's father, Cowboy Bob Orton, stated that his son will return soon. This is what Cowboy Bob Orton said, and I quote, "He's coming along. I see him maybe once a week or so, but he's coming along. He'll be back in there before you know it." End quote. Really freaking interesting. Now, obviously, it would be perfect for Randy Orton to come back after WrestleMania on the Monday Night Raw. And I was actually thinking that it would be really cool as well if we actually got Matt Riddle to come out when Randy Orton makes his return, because they were known as RK Bro last year before they actually ended up splitting the titles. So with both of them being gone, I think it would be perfect if Randy Orton wanted to turn heel and actually turn on Randy Orton and become a bad guy again, and release that Viper that we once knew. This would be a perfect time to do it. And I will actually bring something else up after I get done with this next story, which is creative plans for splitting up the undisputed WWE Universal title. And again, this is being brought to you guys by the Spotlight News, and this is what they had to say. In 2020, Roman Reigns made his return to WWE at SummerSlam after months of hiatus. A few weeks later, Reigns won the Universal Championship by defeating Braun Strowman and The Fiend in a triple threat match at the Payback Premium Live event. Roman Reigns defeated Brock Lesnar in a winner-takes-all title unification match at WrestleMania 38 last year. As of now, Reigns holds both WWE and Universal titles, which makes other stars besides his opponent kept out of the main event picture. WrestleVotes told Give Me Sport that WWE's creative team is currently working to separate the two titles. WrestleVotes also stated that Vince McMahon's regime didn't have any long-term plan for Roman Reigns' undisputed WWE Universal Championship reign. They further noted that the titles will be separated in July. This is what they had to say, and I quote, "This is the final mess, and you can really call it a mess. This is the final obstacle, and the team is working to overcome that. There was never a plan when Roman Reigns won the title a year ago. Triple H was handed this mess. By SummerSlam, there's going to be 2 titles." End quote. Cody Rhodes is scheduled to face Roman Reigns for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship at WrestleMania 39. In an interview with Bart Winkler's show, the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes stated that WWE and Universal Championship should be split. Very, very interesting. Now, the reason why I read that before I continued on with Randy Orton is because when Cody Rhodes came back to WWE last year at WrestleMania 38, and then he came out after WrestleMania, the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania, and he cut that promo about him wanting to win the WWE Championship and become the first Rhodes, to be able to hold that title, and that he wants to win it in memory of his dad. I could see it where maybe we actually get the WWE title on Cody Rhodes, and then we can get a heel Randy Orton who gets the Universal Championship, and then that could be like their way of being able to split the titles, is like Cody Rhodes is able to somehow get a match with Roman Reigns, and then Randy Orton comes back, and then he can get a match with Roman Reigns and finally extinguish him, and then that's when Roman Reigns can step away for a couple of months and do what he did, and then come back before WrestleMania 40 next year. But it's just crazy to think that like now like that Triple H is in charge. Now he, like they said, now he has a mess that he has to pick up. Because I've been saying since 2020 that if you looked at the creative back then, Vince McMahon wasn't building any stars except for Roman Reigns. It was like Roman Reigns was Vince McMahon's final trophy before he finally decided to retire or come back and then now want to sell the company or do whatever with it. It's still like Triple H has all of these pieces that he's going to have to move, and he's going to have to try and make sense of it, because if you look, a lot of people were saying that Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns were kind of the only people that really make sense to put a world title on right now, and it's because of the fact that Vince McMahon didn't build any stars, in those years. So now Triple H is having to try and piece together all of these little segments and whatnot to build up these characters, so that then eventually, even a year from now, hopefully, we can have a couple main eventers that are taken really, really seriously, because they're booked in something that is like long term that people can attach to. So I'm really, really excited to see not only Randy Orton come back to WWE, but also to see what exactly WWE does to be able to book splitting the WWE and the Universal Championship in a logical manner. Very, very interesting. So now let's talk about Tony Khan. Tony Khan fires back at fans who criticize AEW. This is also being brought to you guys by the Spotlight News, and this is what they had to say. AEW President Tony Khan is a controversial figure in pro wrestling. Khan recently exchanged a few tweets with Ariel Helwani, which gained huge attention. We actually did a podcast on that a few episodes ago. In the past few months, Tony Khan booked random matches on AEW Dynamite and Rampage without a storyline. Some of those random matches should have been held in pay-per-views. Yesterday, Tony Khan announced that Kenny Omega will face El Del Vikingo on the upcoming episode of Dynamite. Soon after the announcement, a lot of fans questioned who Vikingo is. A fan who defended Tony Khan's booking issued a statement on Twitter for the fans who don't know Vikingo. Khan supporter urged that fans to use Google instead of asking who he is. In response, Tony Khan tweeted that the fans who criticize AEW aren't real. This is what Tony Khan said, and I quote, "They aren't doing it to be genuine. A large percentage of these replies aren't from real people. A lot of them are accounts that, as upon inspection, seem to only exist to question and rip AEW, and most of their content seems to be a cover story to justify the existence of these accounts." He goes on to say, "One of my favorite bits they do is when they claim they used to love AEW in the old days, but not anymore. Yet when you dig into their old posts, there's nothing positive on AEW ever. Yes, I'm sure you all used to be great fans despite no evidence of that whatsoever." End quote. See, this is my issue, because I have been somebody that has kind of spoken out against AEW, and I feel like I have a reason why. It's because of the fact that I invested so much during that time when they first came out. Everybody knew that I was a very, very big AEW fan. You know, I remember watching the entire company come together. I remember watching the wrestlers be signed and learning who they were and getting excited about a new roster, new characters you get to attach to, new potential storylines. It was the fact that everything was so overplayed. But how is AEW and Tony Khan going to say that the people who criticize AEW aren't real? Like, I'm pretty sure I'm real, even though I criticize it. It's because of the fact that it's a continuing thing. If AEW and Tony Khan didn't constantly bring in random pro wrestlers or have big matches on random episodes of AEW Dynamite, or having matches where on Dynamite you have a ladder match, but this coming Saturday there's a pay-per-view and you're going to have a steel cage match and then a non-sanctioned match. But it's like, so you're in fact taking away from those matches because it doesn't make it special. These were the things that I've been saying about AEW since the beginning. If Tony Khan maybe booked it a little bit differently and didn't just randomly pull anybody and whoever off of the indies so that then they can come and wrestle, but actually built up characters over long periods of time with very, very intriguing storylines, we wouldn't get a report of these people saying that Tony Khan not only books AEW Dynamite, but books AEW Rampage with zero storylines. What's the point of pro wrestling if that? I know a lot of people will say, I just want great matches. And that's cool. That's awesome. But for the people who want like a playoffs, there are fans out there that say, I just want a good football game. And that's cool. You know, you want to sit there and enjoy a good football game. That's awesome. But then there's people who actually get invested in the NFL. They get into the stats. They go over the playoffs. They sit there and they start theorizing about who's going to be ending up at the Super Bowl. They anticipate getting to the Super Bowl so that then when you get there, it gives you that feeling of importance. That's the thing that AEW doesn't have. The thing that Tony Khan isn't building for himself right now. And it's inhibiting him from being able to grow the company. Because look at the things that he says online. I'm going to bring up something. I'm going to do it right here. This is what he said the other day on Twitter. Check this out. He said to Dave Meltzer. So somebody had asked Dave Meltzer if the wrestlers in AEW have to pay for their flights or their hotels or, healthcare and all of that. And Dave Meltzer, who I guess was actually hacked, replied and he said, and I quote, "Overseas is taken care of. Domestic, they still pay for cars and hotels." End quote. And then Tony Khan actually replies to this tweet. And this is something I'm gonna continue on after this. This is what Tony Khan had to say on Twitter. "That's false, Dave. Your statement's true about other companies, but it doesn't apply to AEW at all. AEW invests millions of dollars every year on very good quality hotel rooms and safe transport to take care of our wrestlers. It's a huge investment I make on hotels weekly. Hashtag AEW Rampage. But that's the thing that Tony Khan also does, is that he goes onto Twitter, he goes onto social media platforms, and it's like he almost has to fight back against what people are saying about AEW, when it's like you are the president of not only AEW, but you are also the president of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and this is how you act on social media. Like, it makes you look really, really immature to be constantly having to prove to just random nobodies, especially when people don't always take what Dave Meltzer says to be true. He is just a singular person just like we are. So it's just he's taking somebody, taking it personally, and then he reacts to it. It's like, what are you doing? This is not a good look for AEW. Like, Tony Khan needs to get off of Twitter. He really, really does, because so many times people are like, why do you have to reply? Why do you have to say that people who criticize AEW are bots? Why does it even matter to you? Like, it should matter, like, what we're trying to get to you, but it shouldn't matter that we're criticizing it. That's what you're in this game for. You want people to like your product. There are going to be people that don't like your product for a specific reason. That doesn't unjust their view. So Tony Khan needs to get off of Twitter. Straight up. Insane, man. Insane. But that is all of the news that we actually had for today when it came to WWE and AEW for episode 36. And this was Interesting Podcast for March 19th. And I just want to again tell you guys to get notified, because this Tuesday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be live with the devil himself, Derek Drexel, on not only YouTube, but Facebook. And we are actually going to be having an amazing interview that I am really, really excited to bring your guys' way. So make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. And again, ring that notification bell so you guys get notified whenever I upload content. And I will be back live this Tuesday with the devil himself, Derek Drexel. I'll catch you guys later.